Unlock the path to healing with Exposed podcast. Join us as therapists from around the world break mental health taboos, share powerful stories, and provide insights that transform lives. Tune in, educate, and thrive.
That when someone comes at us with that energy, that they're going to try to recreate who we are in the image that they would like us to be, which is powerless and a mess and a basket case, and we can't do anything without them. But the truth is they can't do anything without us. So where we're going is, and I hope I live to see it, because I have no idea what it's going to look like. But we're coming into a transition where all the rest of creation in our local little corner of the universe is coming to assist us, so that as many of us who are willing to do the work will wake up, we will help each other, and we will come into a new experience of what it means to be human.
Hello and welcome to Expose podcast. Welcome everyone to Expose podcast. This is today very special guest, Anaiis Salles. Anaiis.
Hi everybody. Hello Anastasia, and I'm excited to be here, and I just have to give another shout out to the premiere. It was wonderful.
Thank you for being live with us and all your story. You actually shared your story of surviving and thriving after going through so many adversities in your childhood, if I could call that this way.
Childhood on. It didn't stop. It just kept going and going. It's like, well, here's another way that this can get at you, and here's an experience, and here's how you perceive it. Here's what you learn about yourself. You have to go within and get centered and really feel again all of the complexity of who you are, so that you can see clearly the way out. And I really identify with your audience. I was pulling out some old journals this week that I needed to put out in the sunshine because they'd gotten musty and moldy, and pages opened by themselves. And I will share with your audience that at the height of when I was in my performing mode in theater and as a screenwriter, and in being in LA attending the American Film Institute, very excited, had a script in pre-production. I was suicidal. Because of the sharp contrast between this is who I really am, and this is all that I've been allowed to be, and this is who blocked that. Who is the first person, and then the second person, and then the third person. I'm sure everyone in your audience is familiar with that.
Wow. Yeah. You went deep, and I didn't even do the introduction yet, but
good.
But I also want to introduce you to our audience, as Anaiis is for those who don't know Anaiis, she's a visionary consultant and energy medicine practitioner. Anaiis combines her expertise in personal development and holistic healing to help individuals from around the globe unlock their inner resilience through her 9 essential questions method. With over 2 decades, even more than 2 decades of expertise, she guides her clients to reclaim their well-being by tapping into powerful energetics, resources, and embracing holistic self-awareness. Welcome officially. You mentioned I was in Hollywood, I was screenwriter, and I was suicidal. Could you share more about what made you suicidal, where those voices were coming?
I was just beginning to do something that I really wanted to do, that was in my DNA for me to do. And I knew it. And so I had made arrangements to get into this journey with the American Film Institute, and I went to stay in LA. We were doing our startup for the course. Cute little boutique hotel, 5th floor, got a little suite. It was yummy. And it had a railing that overlooked a courtyard on the interior of the hotel. And so I got unpacked and I went to look out, just kind of see, check out my surroundings. And as I looked over, the thought came to my mind, I wonder if I'd throw myself over the railing if this is high enough to kill me. Out of the blue. So I always have a journal with me, always. And I made a note and I thought, well, that's disturbing. And I do what I do with my process, which is to ask the really fundamental question is, what is really going on here right now, in this moment? And I went in and began doing my work inside to explore where that was taking me energetically. I made some notes in my journal. I went to sleep, and in my dream time, I slit my father's throat.
Your father's what? Sorry.
Throat.
Oh my.
I
Wow.
slit its throat. And this was a very vivid, I have a very vivid dream life. Everything is in full color and full detail and sense, surround sound, all that. And so I woke up and I thought, okay, now I have something that needs deeper exploration. And there's murderous rage here, either against myself or against my father. And I'm going down the middle path, which is neither of those choices. Yeah, that's where you got to go. You got to find that middle path. And energetically, I was able to find that and hold it and go on with the course. And then when I got back to San Diego, I immediately made an appointment with a therapist. It's just like, okay, what is going on here? Now, I was in my early 40s. And I mean, I said, this stuff is only buried. It can be buried deep, but sometimes it's not buried as deep as you think or you feel. It's the feeling that's the key. So I worked it out with a therapist and we got to work on the situation. And I then came into the full memory of being molested by my father around the age of between 4, 5-ish, while my mother was pregnant in the hospital delivering my baby brother. And I was alone in the house with my dad. So that was tremendously valuable. And because I was the age that I was, I realized how much impact that it had on my life in every aspect, and also on my ability to be in a relationship where I felt safe, where I felt valued, where I felt loved, where I wasn't bouncing back and forth between self-sacrifice and self-sabotage. Okay, so there you go.
That you mentioned, I discovered I was molested by my father. How was for you the release of that, rage? And if we can talk about like uh, why certain people experience more trauma than others, uh, and that it goes kind of to something what we chat on private about the past lives. But I don't know if you would like to go toward that.
Absolutely, it's totally related. And in the work that I began doing long ago, I mean, it was the contrast was so sharp between the things that were kept bumping me into these situations, what I would learn, how that would up level the skills that I had that I was pulling in from all kinds of past lives. And that was the process. And I think one of the things I'd love to share with your audience is when you find that middle path, and you look at your emotions and you feel all of them, you're no longer trapped by those emotions. And so I was able to recognize that my job was do the healing that I needed to do so that every gift that the divine has given me to use right now when this planet is in super duper trouble, I was absolutely locked, loaded, and ready to go. And so it seems so strange because when we're going through these situations of being molested or being groomed and it's triggering and we're like, why and why me? The why me doesn't work for you. Let me just put that right out there. That's a huge part of the work I do is you shift as quickly as possible from why me to what if. Who are you? Why are you here? Look at what Anastasia has done. So every obstacle, I want everybody in this audience to think of every obstacle, every awful situation of painful emotional distress, physical distress. When you have the skills to survive it and do more than survive to thrive, which is what I do in my work, you've built a step on a ladder. And then you build another step. And then you build another step. And it's the space in between where you need so much care and so much support and community, which is what Anastasia's building. You need that. You're a workforce. You're a mighty, mighty workforce. And you feel alone and you feel crazy and you feel like, whoa, what? And it really hurts and I'm sad and I'm lonely. We live in a system of separation. And those moments for you are where you punch a hole in hell and you crawl out. And you do it again. And you do it again. And you do it again. And then you become a champion like Anastasia.
Thank you for praising me so much.
It's recognition. We have got to see each other.
Right. That's the symbol of being
We
lifted
really
up,
do.
especially I would like to talk. We actually have a live show on this Wednesday on Lincoln Lynn to talking about healing the sisterhood wound and how we as a feminine are in a different stage. And you called us as a woman fireproof.
Yeah, I call myself a first wave, energetic first wave, fireproof woman, because I've been through every form of fire and I've walked out of it, standing alive and strong. And when you go through the fire that many times, then you become a light and a sound that is so powerful. And that's what we're doing here. The other thing that I really want to make sure we touch on today that's part of this dynamic, because it's part of the sisterhood wound, is are you the child of a jealous mother? Do you have a mother who just as much as she loves you, just is so envious of either your looks or your talent or your skills or your opportunities or your good fortune, and people come and do things with you and she never got that kind of help? We have to recognize this because it's ancestral. Now we're going to even a deeper level. And we have to really ask the question, do I have a jealous mother? I have a checklist for what that looks like. So if you're not sure, you can, yeah, at some point I'll give Anastasia the link and you can just do the checklist. Because that's also an energetic dynamic. It lives in your body. It lives in all of your chakras. It lives in your energy field. And there are very clear ways to move that out, to transmute it, because you've got stuff to do. All of you've got great stuff to do. I'm so excited for you. You've got great stuff to do.
We all have the great stuff to do. And as we are awake, we are living this century where more of us are actually looking for making questions and looking for answers. And those are the seekers. And let's talk about also what it is that, and through centuries, why we're in this place right now, which wasn't possible before, and where we are going as a humanity? What's the next evolution?
The next evolution is that the system of separation, which is a whole platform of energy dynamics, and I want everyone to pay attention. Why is everything in the computer and tech world black? Why are all these machines the color black? When there are so many colors on this planet, why are they black? This is a clue. Because at the foundation of this system of separation, there is a unified force of intelligence, and its goal is to think it's going to be its own, create its own universe, to become the equivalent of God, of source. Well, that's not going to happen, but it's trying really hard. And source just kind of goes, oh no, really, you're really going to try that? That's so not going to work. That is the source in us, that when someone comes at us with that energy, that they're going to try to recreate who we are in the image that they would like us to be, which is powerless and a mess and a basket case, and we can't do anything without them. But the truth is they can't do anything without us. So where we're going is, and I hope I live to see it, because I have no idea what it's going to look like. But we're coming into a transition where all the rest of creation in our local little corner of the universe is coming to assist us, so that as many of us who are willing to do the work will wake up, we will help each other, and we will come into a new experience of what it means to be human. And we will be actually, like we see two screens here, we will be living in a two-screen reality. Where on one screen, what we can see could be just dreadful, and on the other screen, in our daily life, like I live in La La Land. I live in absolute La La Land. It's taken work, because I've been part of co-creating the vibe where I am, and you can do that too. You can do, and you don't have to ask permission. This is the other important part of this work that we're doing, is you really coming into your own. And as you go through these challenges, as Anastasia has learned, she no longer asks permission. Correct?
That's true. Yeah, I give myself permission. I learned that I can be the one who give
Right.
myself, but that was a process to realize that that I'm the source of everything. It really goes to that place.
Yes, exactly. Yes. So that's where we're going. And women, the reason I call myself a first wave fireproof woman is because we're the ones who are leading the way right now to bring the world to its higher level of evolution. We're leading the way. After so many hundreds, possibly thousands, possibly millions of years of suppression, that was not the plan of source. That's been put on us by other forces, which I call the dark flower. Anastasia knows about this. So we're on it. And I can't encourage you enough to be in sisterhood, to work things out with your jealous mother if you can. If not, you have to gently kiss her goodbye and move away, because she may not have enough time left to do the healing where the two of you could come back into unity. And you don't need to hold yourself back for her. If she wants it, she's going to have to come and get it, just like you did. Understood? It's a lot.
Yeah, it's
Okay?
not right. Like just the idea is like betraying your mother, kind of. It comes up with that fear of
Guilt.
if I walk out,
Guilt.
guilt comes up,
Shame.
shame.
Judgment. What kind of a human being am I? Blah, 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 blah.
So that's the work people get to. Anyone can do it working with you, and I know you have the upcoming program
I
starting.
do. I do. And it's my delight to offer it to you through Anastasia. She can be your conduit for entering this program. It's an 8-week program, and it really is how to regain your brilliant resilience when you've been the punching bag for those who groom and abuse, and you're on your way out. You're on your way out. And Anastasia is a leader in this, and there are other women around the world. Yay, fireproof women. Okay. And so she could give you that information, and it's an 8-week program. And I can't, I'm so excited because I've spent 30 years developing all these skills to be able to deliver them now with the people who need them the most. Save lots of time. Don't take decades, do it in a couple of weeks.
Right, that's what you said to me on the phone call when we were like after the last year premiere. It took you over for 12 months to recover, but now it took you only 2 days when you got attacked energetically again. So you can really, you don't have to go through it alone, and the quantum leap, and it actually, could we actually talk a little more about, for those like myself who even 2 years ago didn't have any idea about the energy fields and
I'm glad you're asking that, because that's one of the things I have to recognize as a coach. It's my job to meet people where they are. And the information that I have is something that develops over time. But what's your baseline? Your baseline is your desire to be all that you're meant to be. That's an energetic pattern that lives in your heart, it lives in your DNA, it lives in your spirit. That's what you're going after. So, most of us could recognize the parts of our body, like we know eyes, nose, mouth, elbow, chest, our private part. We know the names of the parts. And that helps us to be able to communicate our needs because we have language for those parts. I've got something in my eye. Oh, to have the name of the part and know what its function is super helpful. What I teach is the parts of you that you cannot see. Most people can't see the energy, but I can. You can learn to feel it, and you can learn to know the names and the parts and what those parts of you do and how you can be in a relationship to them. Like, I can close my eyes, I can open my eyes, I can cross my eyes, I can wear sunglasses, right? These are all the things that you can do because you're aware of what the function is here. You have a part of you. I love to say this to people. It's like, look, you say, oh, nobody can see energy. I say, can you see oxygen? Yeah. Can you live without oxygen?
no.
Doesn't matter whether you can see it or not, right? You can't live without it. This
Yeah.
is true of the rest of your multidimensional energy field. And in time, when you work with it, you at least begin to feel it, and it helps you develop your discernment and your what's called intuition. Intuition is a function of your energy field because the greater part of you sees and knows things that your embodied part of you in your little mind doesn't see yet and know. It has to learn that through time. The greater part of you doesn't exist in time, it exists out of time. That's where the quantum leaps happen. And you're communicating with your whole self, and you're trusting that, and you're learning how to discern it and listen. Then you are also taking yourself into a different relationship with time where you can literally, using energy in a precise way, shift out of one set of circumstances and into another that are moving you ever closer to your center of who you're meant to be and what you're meant to do. That's the function. It's very hard to do that if you don't know the anatomy. Making sense?
Um, I will watch the replay. I actually got some weird call when you were talking, of course. But I missed a little bit, but I'm going to rewatch this. Um, but it's the word of duality when we try to pay attention and something distracting pulling our attention away. It's very interesting.
Well, usually there's a trigger there. Something is trying to grab your energy so that you won't be conscious, so
Mhm.
that you get distracted, so that you lose focus. Once you know that, then you have choice, don't you?
Yes, you can switch off your phone before.
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
Um,
I
so
want to share something funny with you if I can. So I've got a really big black screen on my desktop, and I was working on some energetics things, and I was writing this morning and outside working and doing energy where I live to keep this great vibe going. And I came in and I did the writing, and I usually have like pictures of mountains and trees and sea creatures. And I finished the writing and I came out to my full screen for a minute. It was blazing red. It looked like a blazing red sunset. It looked like everything was on fire. And I thought, okay, then
the
this my
screen,
machine is,
the
yeah,
screen was
yeah,
red
yeah,
after
yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
wrote the
Never
chat.
seen anything like it. Just striations of red and orange. And I thought, the machine is picking up what it is, the energetics of what I'm sharing. And it's showing me that it's picked it up. Like, that's so cool.
So is it technology? Did somebody design a technology for the wrong purpose and that's why it's carried with this? I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
know this is kind of very specific question and there can be many perspectives, but the idea of when we are creating something with a lot of uh, energy in and heart and soul, there is this energy attack with the dual energy trying to break it. Like during, the power went off last
Yeah.
week just before it
Yes.
never happened without the notice. They always send us letter. I couldn't believe, but I
Yeah.
know I'm not the only one and I know it will continue. But how can we actually protect ourselves from those attacks? That we can,
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I teach. And that's
right?
why I can have my television turned off in my room, because for years I've been meditating with my machines and I've been doing heart meditations with them. And it's like, whoever invented you, you don't have to stay in that vibration. I can guide you out of it and we can be coherent. And you can work with me and we can work together. And it takes a while because their consciousness is different. But it's nothing in this world, everything is energy. There's nothing that doesn't have consciousness. So in this last 6 months has been really interesting as I'm doing all this, because I woke up, I had turned off my television, the remote control was over on the bookshelf. I got up out of bed to go to the bathroom and I was thinking that there was something that I wanted to watch. Television just turned itself on. These things will happen. You'll see little signs. They're called synchronicities. When the energy is working through you, with you, and for you, it shows you that it is, or it shows you that it's not, that something else is going on. That's why you ask the question, what's really going on here?
Mm. As we are getting close to the groomed premiere on the
Yeah.
September 5th, would you like to share some of your very basic thoughts on the energy behind being groomed and um,
Hmm.
yeah, what's the solution when it comes to
The,
breaking
the
that?
first solution is it's awareness. It's being aware that this has happened to you. And I was sharing in my master class this last go round. I was telling the story of when I was on my way walking to art class on a Saturday morning, minding my own business, and I had to walk past an empty schoolyard. It was only, up the street from where I lived, but there weren't a lot of people around. And as I'm walking, a man in a car drives up, he slows down, and he rolls his window down and he says, "Can I give you a ride?" This is when you need to be fully paying attention, self aware, and you're not giving anyone permission to do anything to you that you don't want to have happen. And again, the wisdom from multidimensional came in and it said to me, say every curse word you've ever heard. Words that I had gotten my mouth washed out from soap because I brought home from school and I didn't know they were bad words. And I stood there and I looked at him and I said, he was like, what? He rolled up the window and he drove away. Was I going to be compliant? Was I going to be easy? Was I going to be scared? I was like, Bud, get the message. No victim here. Move on.
Wow. How old were you?
10.
Wow. That's such a like. I mean, your story shows that you have been awake from the very early age.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a gift or a curse?
It's both because it's lonely up to a point, but you adapt and you decide what's more valuable to you. Whether being popular is more valuable than being who you're meant to be, not in my world. Oh, it's not how it works for me. But we all have to choose. So I would say the best thing I can leave you with is everything is energy. You are energy. You are so much more than you can see in the mirror. And the best way to gain access to that is intentionally as a conscious choice. Yeah. And to choose that. I'm here if you want to choose that.
We are coming to the end, and I will put the link for the course coming up, your course on September 5th. Is that
Yeah.
correct? September
Mhm.
5th. I will put the link, but I had this another question. Um, yeah, it disappeared. uh, it was important, but I don't have it.
Take a minute. Go back and get it.
Mhm. Yeah, I wanted to ask about, I got it, Catholic Church, or just generally religion. The idea of somebody following some out anything, any religion created by human, and
It's
what comes with it. And
it's limited. It's going to be limited. It's the analogy of the blind men with the elephant, and they can't see the elephant. They can only feel like, well, I've got the tail, so it's all this. And other ones, I've got the foot, so it's all this. The religion is exactly like that. It's blind men feeling around for an elephant, which they cannot possibly describe with blindfolds on. So religion really does come, other than indigenous culture religion, and even some of that, it's part of the system of separation because the relationship is not I am what you are and we are this together. The relationship is I am less than you. You are more powerful than me. You can bless me. You can tell me what I do that is wrong, what I do that is right. And those are all about control and safety. At some point in the past history, that's what some of that was about. And it was about coherent, cohesive community at some level. But when you have an institution like the Roman Catholic Church, which is its own country in Rome, Vatican City is its own country, has its own bank, the whole thing, own country. I would invite you all, and it may be too triggering, but at least look and listen for the story about the new documentary that's out from National Geographic, Sugarcane. This is a story about a Catholic boarding school in Canada, just one, and there were many, where the goal of the Catholic Church was to solve the Indian problem because Indians were not wanting to be Christian. They wanted to do their own form of worship in the natural world organically from their own hearts with what they wanted to do. Well, the Catholics were like, no, you can't do that. So the power over dynamic was for children from native colonies, organizations, communities were forcibly taken away from their families and put in these Catholic boarding schools, and they were not allowed to return. They were not allowed to communicate with their parents. They were educated in the Catholic religion. They were beaten, they were tortured. The young women were raped. They became pregnant, they delivered babies, and the live babies were thrown in incinerators. What is that? Do you think that comes from source? From the creator of all life? I don't think so.
No,
So
no.
religion, and I don't have any axe to grind with the Catholic Church, but it is what it is. And for it to pretend that it is not that, that's why you need to know your own energy field, your own body, and your own feelings, because that for me is just like that guy riding up in the car and asking me if I wanted to go for a ride. And all my senses going, no, thank you. No, thanks. And if you're not going to hear my no, I'm going to make sure you hear it. Because what I'm saying is no, thank you. We live in a free energy zone. Everybody gets to exercise their free will, even if it's something that takes you off the edge of a cliff, and that's what you do. Religion is there to be a secondary layer of power and interference between you and your direct connection with your creator, which each of us, that's our birthright bliss. We should not allow anyone to take that from us. Not any religion, not any person, not any boyfriend, not any husband, not any boss, not any father, not any film producer or anybody else who gets in the mix. This is sacred. It's sacred.
And it kind of giving away so many information, like confessing your sins. Like I grew up in Catholic church, very restrict Catholic church, and I'm sharing this because it wasn't easy for me to start to betray. I had to betray that church, and felt like I was betraying my family. And my mom goes to the church every day with my sister. Every time I go to Poland, there's some pressure for me to go to the church, and what comes with it, like giving so many information, like we talk about it. You said that to be like how much power those priests have if they're listening every day, topics around who did you sleep with, or all this idea of sin, and things which nobody should really know except your therapist or healer. If
Right. It's your business. Nobody should know unless you decide you want to tell
yeah,
them.
yeah. So as we are getting to the, I just wanted to add that because I do believe that people should know that they have a choice, and this documentary is launching, so I'm also excited to see it. And I know it is just example of many others.
It is, but I also want to say that the same is true for Judaism, for Islam,
Mm-hmm.
for any power dynamic of cultural control about you and your relationship to your creator, including witchcraft.
Witchcraft as well.
Yeah,
Yes. the people who are like I've actually never went to the medium is that no like the
I don't
witches
know.
whatever they read from your hands, right? Yeah.
Right? Like that, they're all the same in that they interfere in some way with your pure, clear, honest, truthful connection with your creator. Nobody, nobody but you and your creator should have access to that ever. The trick is that you don't know how to get access to it and that you don't know how to protect it once you do. So I would never tell anybody to not be part of a religious community. Like any other community that you go into in your life, be awake, be aware, be discerning. And the best way to know how to do that and feel it without hesitation is to know about all the rest of you that you can't see.
Thank you. As it was amazing to have you on this podcast, and there I wanted to add. I felt like in my field to add that there is so many things coming up with the new age of like ayahuasca and different psychedelics to expand your consciousness, which are offering for very similar system like the religion for the money to give you some experience and the promise of expanding. I would like to actually make our audience aware with this question. Last question to you: what are some of your thoughts on it, and what are different ways of accessing the super consciousness?
Your breath is
Bread.
the best, your breath, breathing, knowing your chakras. The Sanskrit Indians actually have something right. They've done a really pretty good job. That's where you connect. You don't alter your biochemistry, even with what are considered to be natural substances like cannabis and ayahuasca. Why? Because if you aren't integrated in your energy field and you open a door wide open, but you don't have a screen on the door, you don't know how to close the door and lock it, then anything in this freewheeling creation that we're in can come in and find space in your body and find space in your consciousness. That's really hard to get rid of when you don't have to open the door to that in the first place.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was Anaiis Salles. Anaiis, it was great to have you. Is there anything, last words? I like to always offer it, but you said already so much and you were so generous and so excited for your upcoming course of 8 weeks. So much dive in personal work where people get to work personally with you and release.
I would say that it's important to know your origin story, and your own body will begin to give you clues about your origin story and the things that need your attention, your tenderness, your self-love, your awareness, to heal those parts that have been caught in the system of separation, wherever, whatever timeline. We're in a time now where there's actually so much energy available to do just that. So be courageous, be brave, give yourself permission to take care of you the best way for you, and be brilliantly resilient. That's what you get to do through your birthright bliss. So thank you, Anastasia. And I'm so excited and pleased and proud for you because I know what you've been through. It's huge. It's huge. You felt quite a step on a really big ladder for a lot of women and men. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I honor you for that.
Thank you. It was Anaiis Salles, and thank you all for listening. And see you soon. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Mm.
I have a
Yeah, I see that through your heart.
Yes, like, woo, we got, yeah, okay, cool.
You like it? I mean, do you like it?
I do.
Okay, okay. Yeah, yeah, it's like armor.
Yep. It's like I got my bow, it's right, boom, bang, very good.
I hope you enjoyed this interview, and please subscribe my YouTube channel. For you, it's a one click. For me, it means the possibility to continue creating impact in the world with those videos. Thank you, and see you soon.